Hey there, guys, and welcome to another Factorio Friday Facts discussion. I'm Xterminator. Thank you for joining me. We are covering map editor, LUA snippets, and non-colliding biters, and I'm joined by Bombug, as always.
Hello, everyone.
And yeah, so today, a couple things. We'll just start at the top here. I'm gonna cover this first section, and then you're gonna cover the second one, right?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, yeah, because that one's a bit out of my expertise. So this first part is in regards to the map editor, Lua. So in the last few weeks, we've really accelerated our work on the campaign. We've been pushing ahead a lot with both the scripting and blocking out the physical level design. One of the problems we've come up against a lot is that we often need to perform custom edits to the map, which are quite tedious, but not common enough to add a new tool, the map editor for them. For example, something like disable all spawners in this region. This kind of problem is easily solved with a little bit of custom Lua code, but getting the specification of the area we want to edit into Lua is a painful process of noting down and typing out location coordinates. It's also easy to lose track of these Lua snippets as there's no good place to save them. To solve the problem, basically they decide to add a snippet tool to the map editor. This tool will let you drag your cursor over an area and will then run your custom code on that area. The snippets are named and saved in your player.data JSON so you can keep them around for later. For example, in this simple snippet, replacing trees with biters.
Everybody knew that trees were the enemy. All since the beginning.
I mean, yeah, and honestly, I'd rather have the biters than the trees
Mhm.
anyway. So this is really cool. This should make things a bit easier for them, more streamlined for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Any amount of extra tools that they can put into their map editor just makes it so much more efficient to work on map.
Yeah, definitely. And they say that currently is not a very big scene for community made custom maps, but they're hoping that the example from the campaign once released, as well as much improved editor in 17, will encourage more people to give this a go. Um, yeah, really the only main one I know of is the crash site or the post collapse novice.
Yeah.
Um, it's kind of really hard to like make a custom map in Factorio and actually have it have a point, like aside from just
Yeah.
visual.
Yeah, and that one, Novice Post Collapse, has been really interesting visually and has still given us stuff where we want to work on it and we want to explore more. So they've done a good job with that, but like it's hard to tell a story with no words, no cutscenes, no nothing, just letting the person explore.
Right.
Whoever can make a story from that, well, they're doing some good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So then moving on to the Apple signing woes, and I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah. So as some of you may have heard, Apple is introducing a new system called notarizing for their Mac OS apps. This is a system where you sign your packages and upload them to Apple so they can run something akin to a virus scan and mark it as approved. As of this new macOS Catalina version, this will be mandatory. Our friends at Valve were nice enough to send us a warning with some info about the process. Up until now, their Mac OS binaries hadn't even been signed at all, so this is a good time, they think, to get on that. To be clear, though, they say you can play unsigned Factorio binaries on macOS, but you need to change your security settings to do so, or so I thought, he says. So he tested it by grabbing the app of version 1769, signed it, and uploaded it to their notarization server, and they got the notarization process to succeed eventually. He then copied it onto a completely fresh default setting install of macOS Catalina, double clicked it, and ran it with no security prompt. Problem solved, right? But after that, he decided to do a sanity check, copied over the completely unsigned binary of 1768, and it ran just fine as
Mhm.
well with no security prompt. So basically, like he said, they do something akin to a virus scan to mark their apps as approved. And it's somewhat like what Google does with Flash, where for older versions of Flash, uh, they just allowed it to run just fine with no issues. For slightly newer versions, they have prompts warning you. And then newer is not only warning you, but you have to specifically enable it. And then from, I think, sometime next year, end of next year, they're going to have it completely removed entirely. So you'd have to do extra work to put it on at all. Mac OS is just kind of adding that incremental security where for a while there it was anything goes, and then it was you need to have registered Apple accounts to be able to create and send the binaries out. And now they're adding more and more security, so they've got to be notarized. And in future versions of macOS, you're going to have like everything notarized without those specific settings to allow you to get through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so going on, it says, so at this point, it seems like we really don't have a way to test this process. So all they can do is test to the best of their abilities, see if it works for the users. So the next time Factorio release, let's see, the next Factorio release will include the signed and notarized macOS binaries. So if anybody's playing on Mac and has a problem with 1770, go ahead and let them know. Did they include a link there? No, but there'll probably be bug reports available outside. Yeah, so the whole process for them has been rather slow and painful. Just getting the notarizing tool working was a bit of a saga in itself. Doesn't inspire much confidence in the Apple developers ecosystem. So if anyone at Apple's reading this, please, please, please make this process better. And having worked, I mean, I do all my work on Macs, but mostly in a Linux environment for my services if I can help it. Yeah, the process to get things notarized is kind of a pain, and it is kind of confusing and kind of hard to test. And, you need Mac hardware to run Mac usually, unless you're making a Hackintosh. So getting hardware to test it on is pretty tricky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, any thoughts on that?
I mean, like I said, a lot of it's kind of over my head, but it does sound like a pretty huge pain, especially for like, because like Mac isn't their, it's obviously not their primary user base who's using Mac. So then having to like go through all this trouble for like kind of a sub, um, like smaller audience, like not that like the audience doesn't deserve it to be able to play or anything, just that like this is a huge pain for them to go through for like not very many people benefiting,
Yeah,
which
for sure.
so I definitely like feel their pain.
Yeah, I wonder if they have it automated now as well, the steps that they did,
Mm-hmm.
because at my place, we've gotten it to work now, but it is still a manual process. Haven't figured
Mm-hmm.
out how to automate it. So it's a lot of extra work and time for them to have to deal with it. With that in mind, a lot of developers do program on Macs, so they can get that developer gamer base to be playing Factorio at work, which is the ultimate goal of Factorio, right? Is to distract people from their responsibilities. So it's a good effort.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then at the end of this, they do say that they are looking for a Mac OS developer to join their team. So if you're interested, go apply. They're always growing. The
For
team must
sure.
grow.
Yes. Yeah, definitely check that out. Um, so yeah, kind of a pain, but on to some good news. They are working with non-colliding biters. So basically, for a long time, they've had this issue with many iterations and tweaks, and it's pretty well shown in this GIF below, where, and this is how it is like currently, where biters will come in like a wave together and then stop like a certain distance away, and then like do a weird like mating dance, confused, like running in circles thing, which then kind of just makes them like not that dangerous because they just come in like little bursts, even though there was a huge wave of them. Um, and then basically they explain down here the reasoning. So the mating dance or whatever it is has long been a thorn in our side. The reason behind it is quite logical. When moving, the biters in a group and everything goes smoothly. However, when they see an enemy, they are distracted by it and individually try to attack it. Since the biters are now moving and pathing as individuals, things start to get messy. The biters find a path, but then there's another biter in the way, so he tries to move and turn around, but there are biters in the way there too, and each of those biters are trying to do the same thing, so it all gets clogged up for a while. Basically, they decided that the solution, which some might consider a quote-unquote hack, is that we simply don't make the biters collide at all with other biters. So in the engine, it was super easy, rather simple change, and was already possible just using normal mods. The result speaks for itself. So this GIF here, it's going to take a minute. It's like kind of delayed. So here we go. So you can see like the same wave coming in, and there's a drastic difference like you can just like the whole wave just charges at all at once without doing anything weird. Which looks like way more natural and stuff too. And then I think it just also adds a bit more challenge to the biters, which I'm totally fine with because I always thought this was kind of wonky how they would like do like they do in this first GIF.
Yeah, this makes a lot more sense, and players are going to visually know what's going on from the beginning
Hmm.
and be able to prep for it. They'll know, hey, my defenses are weak here. I need to automate repairs. You know?
Right, exactly. So there's already some separation logic in the engine to keep biters from getting too close to each other. So in the end, we get away with a lot of the benefit of no collisions without the immediate obvious problems of biters infinitely stacking. There might be some smaller issues pop up with this change, and maybe some balancing tweaks to be made, but we are happy with the outcome so far. And I was reading through the forum replies and stuff for about a page and a half or so, or a page, and it seems like pretty much everyone is happy with this change too, um, which is really good. I think it's definitely an improvement.
Yeah, I like it a lot more. It increases the difficulty of biters without doing anything weird. It just makes them work the way they kind of should have, right?
Yeah, basically just made them work as initially intended.
Yeah. I love pathfinding issues like this. You'll see them in all sorts of games.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
know in League of Legends, you can tell if someone's in the bush by attempting to path through the bush, and if your character starts moving around, that's because the pathfinding logic has said, "Oh, there's someone in here, and I'm going to collide. I need to move around." That's when you walk away.
yeah. I actually didn't know that. That's really interesting. And high level knowledge right there.
Oh, boy.
I think there were some references like in the forums about like the StarCraft pathing logic. I think that that's an example of like some of the best pathing logic. Um, like the way that like by Zerg and stuff, like Zerglings and stuff, move around in like StarCraft 2
Yeah,
is really really good.
it just feels performant and smart.
Hmm.
Awesome.
So then moving down, short little thing. Twinson is going to Poznan Game Arena, Poland. Some information here with dates and stuff. So if you're in there, you're gonna see a guy with a Factorio hoodie. It will most probably be me. I'm looking forward to meet any fellow developers or fans attending. And then last, um, Ludum Dare entry. So
Yeah. Are you familiar with the Ludum Dare?
I mean, this explains it pretty well, but I didn't know about it before this.
Yeah, it's a big thing. Pretty much all game developers who are interested in jams are going to do a Ludum Dare one time or a few times or every time. It's a great exercise.
Yeah, so this is really cool. So I mean, they had 48 hours to basically make uh, the best games they could, or rather make a game as completely as possible in the fixed time. And we ended up making a rather Factorio appropriate gear puzzle game. Check it out if you're interested. So there's a link there. Check it out. Basically, it looks like you have to like operate these gears and move like the belts or whatever on the gears to make this one specific gear move at the correct speed. Uh,
Yeah, nice little puzzle game.
yeah, definitely something some people will be into. These type of things usually just frustrate me, but that's
They're
just
kind of
me.
tricky.
Um, but yeah, so definitely check that out. That's really cool. I'm glad they entered because I mean these are pretty, pretty high class devs we have here. So
Yeah, I'm wondering if they're interested in playing Path of Exile because it looks like they're interested in grinding gear game, which
oh
is
my
the
god,
creator Path of Exile.
dude. Yes, I'm sure some of them do. Oh my gosh. Okay. I w- so that's gonna do it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed the wonderful pun here, and hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, gotta sneak them in. That was one of the better ones.
Thank you.
um, so that's gonna do it, guys. Do you have any other thoughts?
Just the Friday Factorio facts must grow. We need more. Keep them coming, guys.
Yeah, keep them coming. They haven't missed a week yet. So anyway, leave your thoughts below, guys, on the forums and Reddit as always. And until next time, we will see you later.
See ya.